What's going on, button pushers, and welcome to the channel. My name is David, and today we're going to be hitting a super important topic that I feel like needs to be talked about a lot more, but actually isn't talked about that much, and it's going to be taxes. And since it's tax season, I feel like it's super important for me to kind of touch on this topic for creatives who don't know how to handle taxes or are looking to get into this world and don't really think about the tax aspect of it, because taxes come every year and you need to do your taxes, which is super annoying, but it's something that we have to do, and I feel like it's a topic we need to know about. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, and if you want to drop me a comment below, let me know, how do you organize your taxes? And if you don't already do your taxes, how do you think you want to organize it? If you need some help, I left a template of how I organize my own personal taxes in the description below. I put this together myself and kind of pieced together a bunch of different things that I knew I might need to have and put it all in one document. So if you guys need some help, make sure you guys check that out in the description, and let's get started. So by no means am I a tax expert, but I do know some basic stuff about taxes because I have to, because as a sole proprietorship owner, I have to be mindful of my taxes and my money and whatnot. So first of all, let's get started with what is a sole proprietorship and what is an LLC, because I'm sure you've heard of these two things, at least the LLC. I want to kind of break down what a sole proprietorship versus an LLC is going to do for you. I'm a sole proprietorship, so as the business is me. I am the business. I am the sole person. I am the one individual that is the business. For me, I decided to go with sole proprietorship because I felt like I didn't really need to separate my taxes between my personal and my business, because I am not hiring employees, I don't have more people and all of that stuff. It's just me, and I didn't really care about the whole limited liability and whatnot. An LLC is a limited liability corporation or company, so pretty much it separates your personal taxes from the business's money and whatnot. When it comes down to it, if you get sued or something and you end up losing all of your gear, they can't take your house, they can't take any of your personal stuff because you are a separate entity from the business. So if your business gets sued, you could lose your camera, you could lose all your gear, but anything that was spent with the company's money can be taken away, but nothing of your own personal stuff, like your family's stuff, your house, your car, your living room couch can't be taken from you if you get sued and need to, pay up. So the limited liability company is going to allow for you to have a little bit more safety and a little bit less liability. However, when it comes down to the tax season, a sole proprietorship is going to be easier to file because pretty much the sole proprietorship is your personal taxes. When it comes down to an LLC, you're going to have to file twice, one for yourself and one for the company. That is the little sacrifice that you have to pay. It's just a little bit more time for taxes, which isn't really a problem. I definitely recommend a limited liability company if you are concerned about, lawsuits and losing stuff that is yours. Personally, I feel like I'm okay where I am right now. I probably will make an LLC in the future once I get a little bit bigger, once I get a little bit more known, once I start getting more clients that might be a little bit more difficult. Aside from that, you can really pick between a sole proprietorship or an LLC. You'll see kind of where you kind of lie in there, except a sole proprietorship is going to be free while a LLC is going to have an annual fee. That can really vary depending on where you live, what state you're in, and it just really depends. But there is an annual fee for an LLC, and a sole proprietorship is free. So depending on where you are in your career, that will help you decide. Next thing we're going to look at is the taxes, like the specific percentages. I can't tell you the exact percentages of where you live because I live in Maryland and our self-employment taxes are 15.3%, and then you have the state taxes, and then you have the federal taxes. So there's a lot of different taxes that come with self-employment, and a lot of people don't actually know about this when they jump into it, because I personally had to deal with it and nobody told me, and I was like, what? So now when it comes down to it, I have to pay at least like 30% of my income in taxes. So let's say I made $10,000 in a year, 30% of that, $3,000 I'd have to pay. So I'd be left with $7,000. That's a big chunk of money. $3,000 is a lot of money. So you got to keep in mind that if you want to be self-employed, you got to be able to make enough to pay all those taxes and whatnot. It is a big chunk of money, and you're gonna have to be prepared for that at the end of the year during tax season, because the thing is, when it comes down to it, which jumps into the next one, we actually don't pay any taxes in our income. So if you've ever worked for a job, like a day job, and you've made a W-2, which is pretty much your paycheck. So you sign a W-2, and then you get paychecks every so often, and then at the end of the year during tax season, your job gives you a W-2 saying this is how much money you made throughout the year, this is how much taxes was withdrawn, and this is how much you're going to get back. To make it easier to understand, some of what was withheld from your paycheck, what was kept from you, is given back to you at the end of the year. That's how you get a tax return, pretty much. But when it comes down to the freelancers, we get W-9s. We fill out W-9s for our jobs, and we get 1099s back. And the 1099s are pretty much receipts for the IRS to say, hey, this person worked for us and this is how much we paid them. So remember, this is how much they need to have on their reported income. So unlike the W-9, you don't have any income withheld and you're handed everything. So there's nothing taken for taxes. So at the end of the year, you have to pay rather than get money back. When we give that to the IRS, they know how much we make, but we also know that none of the taxes were deducted from our income. So we pretty much never get a tax return because we don't work for anybody. You know, we just keep all the money that we get, and at the end of the year, we have to pay the government, the state, and whatnot because we never paid taxes on our income. When it comes down to it, you have to pay because we don't get taxed. But of course, there's a way around paying the 100% of your taxes because there's deductibles. Deductibles are basically write-offs, what you can take off of how much you have to pay because you spent that towards your business. Now, this can be a lot of things. Now, if you take a look at my document, I've listed a bunch of different categories of things you could write off. Expenses and deductibles. This could be anything from miles traveled by your last year in 2019, it was 58 cents per mile. So if I traveled 10 miles, it was $5.80 saved, and I could deduct that from my taxes. So instead of paying $3,000, I'd be paying $2,994 and 20 cents. I save money there just by using my gas. But things like meals, equipment, gear, lenses, flights, Ubers, Lyfts, consultation meals, parties for your business, and pretty much anything you buy towards the business, even like presets and video openers and video templates and transitions, all of those can be taken as deductibles because you're using it towards your business and, you know, bettering your business, and it counts as a business expense. So anything made as a business expense can be anything made as a business expense, it took me 3 tries to say that, can be deducted from your taxes at the end of the year. Now, anything you buy, anything you spend, anything you pay out, make sure you keep an invoice, keep a receipt. Any money you make sure you make an invoice or a receipt just to kind of keep track of it. And this document is going to help out a ton. So the way I organize my document is anytime I spend money, anytime I make money, anytime I do anything, I record in this document day of, day after, as soon as I possibly can. So that way at the end of the year, I'm not like fishing through receipts and kind of trying to figure out how much money I made here and here and here, because then it gets kind of dangerous. You don't know what you're doing. So anytime I go out to eat for business, anytime I travel for business, any Ubers or Lyfts, any equipment I buy, any jobs I do, any money I make, I record it. Not only do I use it for taxes, but I kind of just keep it to kind of keep track of how much money I'm making, how well I'm doing, and kind of see the progress of how much money I make and how much it increases month to month. And, you know, kind of set goals to kind of see, I need to make this much in a minimum to be able to pay out all of my monthly fees and whatnot. And monthly things like subscriptions and Dropbox, memory storage, and whatnot all count as deductibles, and you can count this off. Even sometimes your internet and insurance for your gear, health insurance even, or even office supplies like this table or this plant or this bookshelf or that clock. All of those can be business expenses for my office supplies. So there's a ton of things you can write off. Just make sure that you do it, and everything that is written off has to be bought within that year. So spend as much money as you can. I spent so much money in 2019. It's crazy. But remember this, even if it is a deductible or a write-off, remember that you really are spending that money. You aren't just like spending it and then getting it back. You're losing that money just so you don't have to pay a specific amount at the end of the year, which is kind of, you know, annoying. But you don't have to. Remember, either way, you're gonna lose the money, so you might as well spend it. Am I right? So taxes are a little bit confusing. Tax season is coming away. So if you guys have any questions, this video wasn't, too straight to the point, too direct into taxes. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I will answer to the best of my ability. Remember, I'm not an accountant. I'm not a tax expert. And it is probably more, better to have someone like an accountant or a CPA do your taxes for you. But, of course that costs money, and if you can't afford that, doing it yourself, it might be the better idea. Having a CPA or a accountant is going to help out a ton as far as write-offs and deductibles and getting the biggest tax return if you are still working as an employee. But yeah. Anyways, that's all for today's video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, or if it helped you out at all. Let me know in the comments below if you got any questions about taxes or even anything else that I could make a video on for you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video. Keep pushing buttons. Have an amazing day, morning, night, and wherever you're watching from. I'll see you then. Peace.